A point-to-site VPN connection is also referred as a client-to-site VPN connection. It lets you create a VPN connection to your virtual network from an individual client device. This is ideal for remote workers who need to connect to cloud-based resources securely. If I talk about the key components involved in it, number one is VPN Client, which is a software installed on the client devices that is used to inject a VPN connection to the VPN gateways. Number two is VPN Gateway, which is an Azure resource providing a VPN termination point or an endpoint to connect the VPN clients securely. Number three is certificate or the Azure Active Directory, and these are the authentication mechanisms to connect to the VPNs securely. Number four is IPsec or IKE. These are encryption protocols that are used for secure communication. If I talk about the key features of the point-to-site VPN, number one is remote access. It lets securely connect the users to their cloud resources from anywhere. Number two is flexibility. It supports various client operating systems like Windows, Mac, or Linux. Number three is scalability. It easily adds or removes the clients as needed. Number four is cost-effective solution. So it is a cost-effective solution than the site-to-site VPN for a small number of clients. If I talk about the use cases for point-to-site VPN connectivity, remote workers accessing on-premises or cloud resources can use this point-to-site VPN connectivity. Temporary access for contractors or partners, or it can be used for disaster recovery scenarios. Let us look into the implementation of the point-to-site VPN connectivity. To set up a VPN gateway to establish a point-to-site VPN connectivity, I will first create a virtual network in Azure. For that, I will go to the hamburger icon and click create a resource. Here I will provide the virtual network. And create a virtual network. I will choose the subscription where I want to deploy it. A resource group. For an instance, it is Contoso-Archie. The name for this virtual network, VNet 1 in East US region. I will choose the address space here. For instance, I will create it with 10.1.0.0/16. The subnet, I can modify the subnets here. Let's say this subnet is for the workloads to run. My servers will be set up over here. Whereas I want to add another subnet which will be used for virtual network gateway. So the type for this will be for virtual network gateway, and this will be the CIDR block for this. I will click add, next, review and create to deploy this virtual network with two subnets. Button. When this virtual network is deployed, if I have a look into the number of subnets that are available in it, so one I will use for the servers to deploy, which is my workload subnet, and the other one is gateway subnet. And here also we have the option to create this special subnet for each virtual network as gateway subnet, and we can create only one gateway subnet in one virtual network. Now I will deploy the virtual network gateway into this gateway subnet. For that, I will click on this hamburger icon once again, create a resource, and then we'll choose Virtual Network Gateway. Click Create Virtual Network Gateway. I will choose my subscription where I want to deploy it. I will choose the name for this, Contoso VNG Virtual Network Gateway, East US, gateway type, VPN or express route. I'll go with VPN. Which SKU? We have different SKUs for this, like gateway 1, 2, 3, and then 4 and 5 for better throughput. And I have availability zone based as well. So I'm going with the one that is recommended here with gateway 2 availability zone setup. And then generation 2 or generation 1. So I'm going with generation 2 virtual network gateway. The virtual network, which is my VNet 1, it will look for the subnet in that virtual network. If that subnet for this gateway is available or not by the name gateway subnet, it found that. I will need an IP address for this. I will create this IP, Contoso VNG public IP. If I want this to be zone redundant, so the availability zone I will decide for this IP address. If I want both instances of the virtual network gateway to be in active mode, then I can enable the active mode. Then I will have to define another IP address, the second IP address. So this is a high availability solution. So I will define this second public IP address. For this demonstration purpose, I can use a normal gateway 2 for an instance without any availability zone support. I mean, without improved high availability. Then this is about second public IP address because active is enabled. I don't need active. I'm good with active passive mode for the instances for the VPN gateway. But if you're looking for a highly available solution and you want the load balancing as well between the two instances of application gateway, then go with active. Finally, I will click on review and create to start the deployment of this virtual network gateway, which takes almost 45 minutes. I will pause the video. To do the point to site configuration, I will go to the virtual network gateway and set up this gateway to enable the point to site VPN connectivity. If I look at this virtual network gateway, it is in Contoso RG resource group in this region. Gateway type is VPN. VPN gateway 2 is the SKU. It is route based, so dynamic routing will be there. If I go to the settings, under the settings, I have point to site configuration. This connection we use to establish the site to site or VNet to VNet connectivity. So because I will be doing the point to site configuration, so I'll click on configure now button to configure it. I will provide an address space over here that I need to use for this connectivity. So this is 172. Let's say 16.21.0/24. So that address space will be used for establishing this point to site VPN connectivity. Whether I will use OpenVPN, SSL or SSTP or IKEv2. So depending on your client machines that you're going to connect to the Azure services, you can choose this authentication method. So I will be going with this tunnel type, which is SSTP, SSL, and authentication type will be, let's say I will go with the Azure certificate based. So when I choose Azure certificate based, then I need to provide the certificates public data over here. That certificate can be trusted by the VPN. My next step will be to generate that certificate and will publish that data over here on this VPN. So to do that, I need to generate a certificate on the client device. So let us move to the Windows client and generate a self-signed certificate and put the public data of the root certificate here so that the certificate can be trusted. This Windows client device that I will use to connect to the Azure Virtual Network Gateway with point-to-site VPN connectivity. So I will generate the self-signed certificate here because I will not be procuring the or requesting for a public certificate for this demonstration purpose. So I will launch the PowerShell ISE, will run it as administrator to generate a self-signed certificate here. In the PowerShell ISE, I will put the code, which is new self-signed certificate command with few parameters like the type is custom, subject of the certificate is point-to-site root certificate, key specifications are these, and the exportable and certificate sign, and the key length is 2048. It is secure hash algorithm, that SHA-256 algorithm for this. So this is how I'm going to generate a root certificate through the PowerShell command on this client machine. Based on this root certificate, I will generate a client certificate, and for that I will run the PowerShell command. These commands are documented on Microsoft Learn as well, in case you want to take these commands and perform this demonstration. I will paste this command to generate a new self-signed certificate, which will use these parameters, and it will be based on that parent or the root certificate, using that root certificate in my current user store. So I will run this code and it will generate a point-to-site child certificate. If I take you to the cert manager, certificate mgr.msc, so in the certificate manager, you will see in the personal store of the user, in the certificate store, there is root certificate and there is a child certificate. I need the root certificate's public data so that it can be added to the virtual network gateway, and that starts trusting the certificate that I have generated as a child certificate under the user store of this current user. So I will right click and export this certificate, and will export it with its public key. So I will not go with private. So when we say public, let's say no, do not export the private key, then we get the option of CER, which is canonical encode reader, and we have different formats for that. So I'll go with base64, and then we'll export this certificate and store it somewhere on this system, let's say E drive, and this is going to be the root certificate. Give it a friendly name and export that. So with its public data, the certificate will be exported. Now I open the file explorer. I go to this E drive, and this is root certificate. I will open it with let's say Notepad. So more apps, Notepad, open. Now this is the public data that I need to take to the virtual network gateway. I will copy it from here and will put it on the VPN gateway. Data over here, provided a friendly name, root certificate. I will save this configuration now, and then I can download this VPN client profile to create a VPN connection on the Windows client. It'll take few seconds to save this configuration, and then I will download this VPN client on the client device and will create a VPN connection based on the configuration defined over here. As this public certificate data is published, then my VPN client profile is ready to be downloaded and used to create a VPN connection. I will click on download VPN client. This will download a .zip file to this local machine. We use this VPN client profile to establish a VPN connection in a handy way. Otherwise, the native VPN client in the Windows machines can also be used to create this VPN connection directly from here. So I can go to VPN settings and then add a VPN connection. But adding a VPN is a multi-step configuration which requires the VPN provider, the name, the IP address of the server to connect, the authentication methods, and so on. And users might make mistakes while connecting to the VPN or creating these VPN connections. So to reduce these such help desk calls, we package the VPNs into the .zip file, and we share them with the users, so that users just need to hit that exe file, the double click they need to do, and the VPN connection is created. So this reduces the help desk calls while connecting to the VPN connections. Microsoft introduced this feature for creating a VPN profile for the first time in its Windows Vista operating system with a feature called Connection Manager Administration Kit, where we used to create the or package the VPN connection profiles like this. So if I go to my downloads, I can see that VPN connection profile has been downloaded, and this is the zip. I will extract it. So extract all and extract. Once extracted, then I'll choose the x64-bit. This is my 64-bit operating system, and then this is the VPN client setup 64.exe. I will run this. So always before opening this file, it will check that one. That's fine. This executable is not trusted, so the operation did not complete successfully because the file contains a virus, potentially unwanted software. So I can trust this application. So let me run it as administrator this time, and then I say run, and allow me a sec. So here we go. Contour, so VNG, the file has been hidden. I need to disable this defender for some time. For this file to execute, because the defender is blocking it. Real-time protection I have turned off. Okay, rest I'm good. That's fine. So I've turned it off. I'll go to the Virtual Network Gateway, extract the file once again, replace the files in destination 64-bit. I'll hit double click on the file. I'll go to more info and allow it to run, because the file has been packaged with the unknown publisher. That is why it is giving me this message. So do you want to install this VPN client? I said yes, and this will create a VPN connection. So if I take you to that VPN connection settings that I was showing you under the networking, so VPN, you will notice that a VPN connection for VNet 1 has been created. Right now I'm not connected to that, so if I want to
connect, I can click on connect button, and it will authenticate using that certificate which is there in this local store of this user, and it will establish a connectivity, and it is connected. You remember I provided the address space on this VPN client, which was 172.16.21 in that range. So this VPN client must be using that address space. If I go to the PowerShell and show you this IP configuration of this machine, ipconfig/all, you will notice that this machine has a VPN connectivity established, and this IP address is 172.16.21.1 as the preferred IP for this point-to-point adapter and PPP adapter that it is using. Okay, so this is how a VPN connectivity has been done from the client to the virtual network gateway in Azure. Now, any resource that you have in that virtual network VNet1, you can connect to that securely because it's a VPN connection established from this local machine to that target network. So you can connect, disconnect anytime over here. So this is how you can establish a point-to-site VPN connectivity. I hope this tutorial was informative to you. Thanks for watching, and do subscribe my channel for more videos.